Hello, Raleigh. This is citizen reporter Robert Courts coming to you from your backyard. Today's edition is a very exciting yet somber moment. We once again reach out to our good friend and medical advisor, Dr. Susan Lovelle. Dr. Lovelle, thank you for joining us.
I am so
Um,
happy to be here today.
it's delighted. It's been a while. We've certainly missed you, and we're grateful for the opportunity. I say somber, but I'm just kidding. It's really, in a lot of ways, this is a very exciting to see you again, Dr. Lovelle, and would love to just chat with you about the vaccine and the vaccine and the vaccine. So, any updates or news you can share with us on that would be
Oh,
very.
yeah, as you can imagine, there's just so much going on. And we were just talking right before this and saying that every day I was getting emails from the people I'm working with. Oh, what do I do about the vaccine? Should I get the vaccine? And I was answering them one on one. And finally, I just realized that there are just so many questions that everyone has that it just makes sense to put it all together. And then let's talk about the science. Let's talk about, the reality of what the vaccine, what it can do, what it doesn't do, and go from there.
Well, let's start with what it does do,
Mhm.
because it's very exciting. And while it won't change the whole thing, the whole situation, it is a lot of exciting things. So, what pros do come from the various vaccines?
Oh, yes. So, with all of them, essentially what they're doing is immediately boosting our immune system to be able to recognize and respond to an attack from the COVID-19 virus. That's essentially what it's all about. And when our system, when our antibodies and all of the things that make up our immune system are revved up, then when we do get, when we do see and encounter the COVID-19 virus, we're able to react to it faster. So we either don't catch it in the first place, or if we do catch it, we get a milder course. That's the whole thought behind this vaccine and any vaccine.
So I get a little confused when they say this vaccine is blah 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 percent effective and blah blah blah, and it's really hard to say. I got this silly notion that just because some vaccines are a two shot, that they're better, but that's not necessarily the case, right? But
Okay.
what
Mhm.
is it?
Well, that's a great question. That is an excellent question. So the first thing to know is that there's no vaccine in the world. It doesn't matter what type that is 100% effective. That's number one. And then the other thing to look at is that there are some, I remember several years back when a flu vaccine came out, and the vaccine is different every single year because flus and every other kind of virus mutate. There was one vaccine that was 20% effective. And I'm like, ooh, that's really not good. However, even the one-shot COVID-19 vaccine is about 70-75% effective. That's amazing. And the
Right.
others, the two shots, are 90 and 95%. So
Okay.
those are
Wow.
really wonderful. All of those numbers are really very good.
So don't if you get the chance to get the one shot, take it. Absolutely. Right.
Absolutely. Don't
Um,
don't pass it up saying, "No, I don't want that one." It's way, way, way better than, the risk of COVID.
Right. So 70% effective means a couple things, right? It means that 70% of the people get some coverage, or is that what it means? I hear a lot about, well, it also means that a lot of people aren't going to die from it, right? Even though it may be you get a little sicker on this one than the other one, all of them help with morbidity. Is that correct?
Exactly, exactly. And so that's essentially what we're really hoping for from any of these vaccines is that, should you get it, that it will not be as severe. And that's what we're seeing across the board.
Okay, so very effective on that.
Mhm.
What are the research showing about if you get the vaccination, can you transmit COVID to others?
Yeah, it's believed at this point that yes, you still can. And that's why the recommendation is still there that even if you're fully vaccinated, that you continue to wear a mask when you're around others who are not vaccinated. So there are different recommendations depending on where the status is of everyone. So if you're in a group of people that and everybody's been vaccinated, then you can take masks off, and
Gotcha.
you don't have to socially distance. But if you're in a group where you could potentially pass on the virus because you're not you haven't seen any symptoms, then it's better that you stay masked, that both of you stay masked. So,
If I'm inoculated and I'm transmitting it, is it probable that I might not even know that I have it because my vaccine really minimized my symptoms or even made them almost invisible or non-existent?
Exactly, you're exactly right. I mean, we've seen so much asymptomatic transmission already, right? Even before the vaccine. So
Right.
the fact now that someone is vaccinated doesn't stop that, and we realize that it's so important that we continue to do this until we get to the numbers where enough people have been vaccinated that it's not a problem.
Um, so I heard, we heard about, and you and I have talked about herd immunity a
Mhm.
lot, but
Mhm.
there's no such thing as herd immunity without a vaccine. Isn't that correct?
Well, there's no such thing as safe herd immunity, maybe with something like this. Yeah, I
Okay.
mean, we could continue just kind of going out and mixing and mingling until, the numbers, well, I mean, it's really kind of morbid, until enough people die that we had that immunity. We don't
Uh,
want to go that way.
no.
We would rather.
Vaccine gives us a safe way to get to that herd
Exactly.
immunity
Exactly.
without the sacrifice of life. Um,
Exactly.
uh, then, how long does it last, do you think? Are we once we're vaccinated, we're good for a year, three, forever? Do we have any research on that?
Well, it's still so new that we don't know 100%. We're looking for 2 years for that to be the number, but at this point, we don't know. So that's another reason why it's really important that we don't just say, "Woof, everything's good," and life completely goes back to normal. We still need to be careful and cautious.
I was when a year ago, we I was hearing it'd be 2 or 3 years for a vaccine. So to
Mhm.
have it created and starting to be administered, and people that I know were getting shots end of last year, to me
Mhm.
is a modern day miracle,
It
right?
really has been. And what's really exciting is that the science behind it. So, we're looking at mRNA, the messenger RNA that the actually in the cells and everything, not to get too crazy, but they're looking at that not just for vaccines for illness, but also for cancer and other ways of now getting that information into the cell to get it out faster. So
So you can
it's opened up a wide range.
it's like a direct email to that cell for this very particular. That's incredible. Um,
Exactly, exactly.
um,
Really exciting.
What the vaccine is not, though, is a cure-all. So we still are going to still wear your masks, still encourage everyone to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Have you been vaccinated, Dr. Lovelle?
I am right in the middle. So I've had my first, my second one is coming up in a couple of weeks, I think. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So great that the front line appreciate that.
Mhm.
Um, I'm hearing a controversy I would like to bounce off of you as our medical expert.
Sure.
I'm particularly in a lower level, young enough that I'm not high risk,
Mhm.
fairly healthy.
Mhm.
Um, but yet, a lot of places like FEMA, a lot of pharmacies, if they have extra, they want to inoculate people. So, is it morally okay for me to sign up and get inoculated, even though I'm not in the first, second, or third group?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, think about it. Is it more important that all of the vaccines that are available actually get used as opposed to getting thrown away? Because they are so fragile, really, that they won't last forever, and if they don't get used, then they get tossed. So
Right.
I would much rather, and I think most people would much rather that more people get vaccinated, even if they're not in the so-called group right now.
Right. So if you're out there and listening and you want to get vaccinated, do find a way, and know that you're doing yourself and the community a service at long.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Is there anything vaccine related that we didn't touch on that you are sharing with your clients?
Let's see. Well, we kind of talked about the difference between vaccines and why
Mhm.
these were able to be, that's actually a good point, why these were able to be developed so quickly. Whereas, say, the traditional flu vaccine, the vaccine you see this year is from the flu from the year before.
Right.
And it really has to do with the way that they are made. So the previous vaccines were often, they took actual vaccine and, actual virus, maybe inoculated it in an egg and went from there. So it was really kind of growing the vaccine as opposed to literally, as we just mentioned, going and taking the messenger that tells the body, that tells the cell what protein to make. So much, much different type of way of manufacturing, which is why it was so quick.
It reminds me when I was a young buck, it seems like several years ago when they started the Genome Project, right? And they're like, it's going to take 7 years for us to fully, and then 2 years later, we've done it.
Exactly.
And then now we can translate even to messenger RNA. So the science is really fascinating. What do you think about the rollout? Do you think on the whole, we start to really see a smooth rollout, or do you have any opinion on the actual delivery of the vaccine?
Yeah, it's getting there. I think the one thing that would be very much more helpful would be for, just as we were just saying, if there are extra vaccines, if there was some easy way for people to know where they were so that, you could then go and get the vaccine other than having them tossed. That would be my biggest thing.
I have noticed the FEMA has several a county-wide distribution systems where, with a little bit of forethought and an appointment, driving out maybe to a different county or even those in Wake County, it takes about an hour, they say, start to finish. So that seems like easy enough to find that opportunity.
Excellent, excellent.
Well, Dr. Lovelle, any last moments of wisdom or encouragement for us?
I think the main thing is that we really are starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And I appreciate that people are realizing that this is the way to go. And the faster we get this done, the faster we can get back to the life that we've been missing this past year.
Well, I'm anxious for that. And Raleigh, I'd like to remind you that everything you need is right here in your backyard. I'd like to encourage you to reach out and find Dr. Susan Lovelle of Premier Wellness online. She is a great resource. She is a wonderful doctor with a great bedside manner. And Dr. Lovelle, thank you so much for sharing your time with us. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it.
Thank you. Love being here, Robert.
All right. We'll see you soon, Raleigh. Check in again
Bye.
in your backyard.